Let's start with the basics we must know before moving over to the addition. A coup, also known as a coup d'état, is a sudden and often illegal seizure of government power by a small group, typically from the military. When a coup is successful, the group takes control of key government institutions, suspends the constitution, and imposes military rule. Coups often occur due to government corruption, dissatisfaction with civilian rule, personal ambition, ethnic or regional grievances, and ideological beliefs. In Nigeria's history, many military leaders have become heads of state through successful coups. In this edition, we'll explore how Oguiyi Ironsi became head of state and the circumstances surrounding his death. On January 15, 1966, a group of young military officers, led by Major Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu, staged a coup, overthrowing the civilian government of Prime Minister Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. In the coup, several top politicians, military personnel, and police officers were killed, including Prime Minister Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Premier Ahmadu Bello, Premier Samuel Ladoke Akintola, Finance Minister Festus Okoti Ebo, Ahmed Ben Musa, Hafsatu Bello, Ahmadu Bello's wife, Latifat Adamalagan, Brigadier Samuel Adamalagan's wife, Zarumi Sardauna, Ahmed Pategi, Brigadier Samuel Adamalagan, Brigadier Zakaria Maimalari, Colonel Ralph Shoderinde, Colonel Kerr Muhammad, Lieutenant Colonel Abogo Lagema, Lieutenant Colonel James Pam, Lieutenant Colonel Arthur Unegbe, Sergeant Daramola Oyegoke, Police Constable Philip Lawande, Police Corporal Akpan Andoka, and Police Corporal Haggai Lai. The coup resulted in the loss of many prominent lives, including some who were killed alongside their wife. After the killings, General Johnson Oguiyi Ironsi, being the most senior military officer at the time, took over power and became the military head of state. As the head of state, Oguiyi Ironsi ordered the arrest of the coup plotters, including Major Chukwuma Kaduna Nzeogwu. Instead of executing them, he had them detained in prison. However, this decision was met with dissatisfaction from some northern and western military officers, who grew increasingly discontent with Oguiyi Ironsi's handling of the situation. As the situation continued to deteriorate, the dissatisfaction among the northern and western military officers intensified. They began to plot against Oguiyi Ironsi, citing his perceived favoritism towards the Igbo people and his handling of the coup plotters. This ultimately led to another coup. On July 29, 1966, these northern officers, including Murtala Muhammad, Theophilus Danjuma, Muhammadu Buhari, Ibrahim Babangida, and Sani Abacha, staged a coup that would claim the life of General Johnson Oguiyi Ironsi. The story begins with General Johnson Oguiyi Ironsi's visit to Ibadan as part of a nationwide tour. He was a guest at the government house when he became aware of the coup. However, it was too late for him to take any action. Believing that the coup plotters had taken control of key locations, including the airport and communication networks, Oguiyi Ironsi decided to stay in Ibadan to plan his next move. His host, Lieutenant Colonel Adekunle Fajuyi, who was also the military governor of western Nigeria, mobilized soldiers to protect Oguiyi Ironsi. Fajuyi positioned the soldiers around the government house, but before he could complete his preparations, a group of soldiers led by Theophilus Danjuma arrived. Danjuma saluted Fajuyi, acknowledging his seniority, and requested that he step aside, explaining that the coup was not against him but rather to capture Aguiyi Ironsi. Fajuyi pleaded with Danjuma not to harm Aguiyi Ironsi, offering to go upstairs to bring him down instead. Danjuma agreed, and Fajuyi went upstairs to inform Aguiyi Ironsi about the situation. However, Danjuma and his men followed closely behind, and as soon as they entered the room, Aguiyi Ironsi was arrested. Fajuyi continued to beg Danjuma not to kill Aguiyi Ironsi, suggesting that they take him prisoner instead and announce a new head of state. However, Danjuma refused to listen, and Aguiyi Ironsi was forced into a car. Fajuyi's pleas were in vain, and Fajuyi also immediately entered the car, and as Danjuma and his men took Aguiyi Ironsi away. Aguiyi Ironsi was driven to a location in Oyo State, along Lalupon, where he was ordered to get out of the car. Fajuyi, knowing Danjuma's intentions, pleaded with him. When Aguiyi was told to run, Fajuyi tried to protect him by blocking Danjuma's men from shooting. However, they saw Fajuyi as an obstacle and killed him first, followed by Aguiyi Ironsi. This event marked the end of Aguiyi Ironsi's administration. The subsequent government ignored his death and didn't hold those responsible accountable, which led to major problems in Nigeria. The eastern region was particularly unhappy about the government's handling of the situation. Notably, despite the seniority of other military officers, a junior officer, Lieutenant Colonel Gowon, was appointed head of state. In the next edition, we'll discuss the Gowon government and the events that led to the Nigerian Civil War, also known as the Biafran War, in 1967.